And so, in the spirit of grassroots collective activity, we would like you to either make drum noises or clap.
I don't know the authors of the winning submission. They were all submitted blind, as it were, or concealed. But I'm now about to find out. The jury prize of submission number 26 goes to Mark Ashby Architecture and Greenskins Lab by Mark Ashby, Kevin Kong, Isabel Koenig, and Daniel Rohr. So my job is done. Thanks again, Andrew, and my fellow jury members, and I'm going to hand the stage to Mark and his colleagues to say a few words. Thank you so much for coming out this evening.
Hello, good evening. Thank you to everyone who came out on this beautiful evening to talk about design. A few thanks are in order. Thanks to the jury for allowing the non-pre-selected designs into the jury selection. This was we feel a very important thing to do as well, and I'm glad you shared that. I also want to thank the Vancouver Public Space Network, who's done a tremendous job over the last 6 months putting together a really amazing series of events around this competition. It's an incredible amount of work that Andrew and his team have pulled off as a non-profit volunteer-driven organization, and they deserve another round of applause and many more. And I also want to thank everybody who's come out today, and I know many of you are also competitors in this design competition. Competitions don't exist for the sake of one design, they exist for the sake of many, and competitions don't exist without the amazing energy that a large number of people put into them. We undertook this project certainly with a hope that we would be recognized for this effort, but primarily for testing a working relationship between 4 distinct practitioners, practicing in different disciplines and with different working styles. This is very important since the age of the lone genius drawing on a personal inspiration is over. The future of design practice is collaborative. And this project represents a collaboration and a partnership between myself, Kevin, Isabel, and Danielle. And a very happy one. In undertaking this project, we are interested in the outset in addressing the idea of public space in Vancouver on a conceptual level. And to do this, we had to allow ourselves to make big and bold moves in the city and not shy away from extremes. And this is a working methodology that often doesn't work well with the mindset in Vancouver that often tends to moderation. I didn't intend for that to be funny, but thank you. We started where many teams, I think, started in this project, with the question, why build a square? And what is the relevance of the public square to the city in the 21st century, and in particular, what is the relevance of the square to Vancouver? We began by examining manifestations of the square throughout history as an outdoor room, an instrument of authority, as politicized space, and as a facilitator of civic purpose. Throughout history, the square has appeared as a piece of contested public grounds found by relevant institutions of the time. A courthouse, a town hall, a church, a train station, for instance. I feel like Lance probably said this much better than I ever could, but I'm going to proceed for a short while anyway. In a sense, the square may be described as the aggregation of the public streetscape associated with each institution. And as such, that aggregated space could be used in its entirety by each institution in turn. But next we look specifically at the nature of public space in Vancouver in a helpful comparison with New York. And we were struck by an interesting observation of these two cities. Despite both being coastal estuaries, their treatment of public space is very different. Where New York condenses its public space in the center, in Central Park, and focuses inward, Vancouver is very much an outward-focused place. And we latched onto this as something that's fundamental, it's intrinsic to Vancouver. And we chose to work with this intrinsic nature of edges. So faced with this consideration, we re-examined the fundamental nature of the public square, unbundling it to create a form that's responsive to Vancouver's unique spatial paradigm. Linear squares exist around the world, the Ramblas in Barcelona, the Mall in Washington, D.C., for instance. With Vancouver's version, we identified an opportunity to resolve a very problematic condition in Vancouver's streetscape, which is the interruption of Robson Street by Pacific Place Stadium and the disconnection that it causes between Vancouver's downtown and the Falls Creek waterfront. We knew that there were plans for a new cultural district on the site of the old Plaza of Nations, which would be home to the new VAG. We knew that the Central Library was an important fixture in Vancouver's civic landscape. And situated between these two were the newly renovated CBC Broadcast Centre, an institution serving the media-enhanced generation of citizens. And BC Place Stadium, perhaps the most unpublic, publicly owned building on the planet, but an important landmark for sports fans across the Lower Mainland nevertheless. And the axis connecting these institutions became a formal driver for a linear park extending from Robson Street to the waterfront. The square enhances the institutions, extending their public function into the space of the city, and allows the library, the CBC, the stadium, and the VAG to connect to people in the public realm. A collection of soft programs provide an infrastructure for public purpose. Garden plots, kiosks, and markets provide urban agriculture and commerce. Media poles respond to the intensity of occupation on the band. Courts and fields, striped onto parts of the park around the intersection with the Pacific Coliseum Stadium, provide an amateur counterpoint to the pro sports that are happening in that building. And a ramp weaves through the VAG, connecting the art gallery to the public realm and restoring the iconic grand staircase where the new urban square meets the seawall. Finally, I just want to say before handing off to Daniel that it is the nature of competitions to select a winner, but the value is not in promoting a single idea, but in the multiplicity and diversity of ideas that competitions engender. There's clearly a great deal of interest in this topic. There is a huge amount of energy that's been poured into this competition, both by the organizers and by the participants. And it's our sincere hope that the Vancouver Public Space Network will have the opportunity to publish all of the designs that were submitted at some point online. Okay.